Welcome to our July 1st business meeting. It's hard to believe the half the year is over already, but it is. So I'm calling the meeting to order. Don't forget you can sew, knit, quilt, or just sit back and enjoy the meeting because all of you are muted. And I love that when I'm in control. Announcements. A reminder, we are recording the business meeting and it will be on our blog. So don't forget that we do not record our speaker meetings because that is our speaker's business. So you don't want to miss the next meeting we have in 2 weeks with our speaker, and you'll hear more about that as the meeting goes on. But I received an email from our contact at the Veterans Building, and they are planning to open July 1st tentatively, and I didn't get the official notice today whether they're opening or not. But the good news is we had said originally we might wait till Founders Day, but at the board meeting, the board said, you know, let's do a dry run, our very first meeting in September, and in person, if the protocols fit us, if it's good for, you know, if the new virus hasn't expanded, and if they tell us everything that they're going to do to protect us, and if we agree with all of it, then we may have our first meeting the first week in September. And then we'll have a big blowout meeting, fun meeting for our Founders Day, the third Thursday of the month. So let's move on from here. So you'll stay tuned because we'll have more information as we get closer to that date. So let's start with our committee reports. We have Block of the Month with Carol Lemoynier and Joni Bellinghausen. Last month's block was in honor of Father's Day, and it was a tie block, kind of tie that goes around your neck, honoring all of the fathers. So let's see what Carol Lemoynier and Joni have in store for us for July. So take it away, Carol, as only you can do.
Okay, hold on just a sec while I get rid of a few extra screens here, sorry.
So tighten your seat.
Hello, this is Carol Lemoynier from the Block of the Month, and I'm here to introduce to you the July Block of the Month, which is a little bit more complicated than any of the other blocks that we've done so far in our series. So, this is going to be a little bit longer of a video, and I apologize for that, but when you start making the block, you might want to refer to this video to figure out what the heck do you need to do to finish it. It sounds complicated, there are a lot of steps, but it's really, really easy in the end. So, please have some patience, and I will slowly explain to you what this block is. First of all, let's focus on the block. It's a shirt for a man, or you could, I guess, put the buttons on this side and it'll be a shirt for a woman. And because it's short sleeve, we're calling this, you know, the July travel shirt that a guy would wear and everything else like that. It's 12.5 inches, just like all of our other blocks, and it looks really, really cute. This one is made with plaid fabric. I know I've overheard conversations between Chris and Georgianne about plaid. It always has to match, but we're not going that way because this block is complicated enough as it is. If you want to have your plaids match, go ahead, go to it, but not me, okay? So do your best. Anyway, these are the parts that we need. First of all, this is the edge of it. It's 12.5 inches by 1 3/4. That's probably too big. Joni Bellinghouse, my compatriot, made it 1.5 inches. I make it a little bit bigger, and then at the very end, I cut it down to size. Okay, then we have the shirt. The shirt is 9 inches by 3.5 inches. The sleeve is 2 3/4 by 3 1/4. And if you're going, most of my shirts that I made are directional, so you got to make sure that, you know, you have it in the right direction, right? And so then this, the background is 6 1/4 by 2 3/4. Okay, and this is 11 inches by 2 inches. Then the collar is 2.5 by 4 inches. And then this is, you know, the good old flip method. You've got these little 1 3/4 squares. You put it on the background, you sew it right here on the diagonal, turn it around, and boom, you got the rest of the collar, right? And then you've got these two pieces, which are 3 3/4. This is 1 1/4, this is 1 3/4, and you've got the other side. You've got your right and your left, and so forth and so on. That's what you need to make this block. It takes less than a fat quarter, and it's a lot of fun. Now we'll get into the nitty-gritty. Thank you. I forgot to tell you about the most important part of the shirt that makes this block a little bit more complicated. It's where you make the lapel and the inside of the shirt. Those are these pieces up here. So you've got a 2.5 inch block, I think it is. Yeah, 2.5 inch blocks, and that goes right over here. And then these are the guys that make the lapels, and they are 2.5 by 3.5. Sorry, forgot to mention that. Now you've got it all. You're ready to start.
Okay, we're going to now go to the second one, second half, if you'll hold on just a second. And why is this not closing? Here we go. Sorry. I'm on a different computer today. Can you tell? Okay, so we're going to.
It's all magic to me.
Yeah, well, I'm starting over because it was not, I was getting a little lost. Okay, here we go to number 2.
Step 1, you've got to do the collar, right? And again, I've already explained it to you. You've got a 1 3/4 inch square. You just do the flip method. You put it on your 4 inch block, and then put these two together, and then boom, you've got your collar, right? That's pretty easy. Except remember, there's a right and there's a left, and of course, one time when I made it wrong. And I did the same thing with the sleeves. So you gotta make sure you got one that's right and one that's left, and then you've got your two bodies. Okay, now comes the hard part, and it's not that hard. So we've got the little lapels, right? So what you do is you sew it on one side, just one side, like that, inside out. Then you turn it around, right sides out, right? And you sew it on the where you had sewn it, where it's folded, and where it's folded down here on those two edges, because this is what you're going to see when the block is completely done. On the inside of the shirt, what you've got are the 2.5 inch squares. Because it's 2.5 inches square, I always draw a diagonal line on it. I know I'm using a different fabric for this shirt, but this shows up the mark that I made. Now what you're doing, remember, you want it inside out. So you are drawing the diagonal line right on top of that fabric, so that when you finally sew it on, you're seeing the inside, or the bad side of the fabric, okay? So now you've made your lapels, and you have prepared for the inside of the shirt. And you've sewn all of these things together, and you've got your collar done. Okay, now what do you do? Well, that's the hard part, but it's not that hard, so don't panic. I'm panicking. Okay, follow me. When you have your lapels, where are my lapels? They're made out of these guys. Here they are. These are my two lapels. okay? And they're sewn and they're ironed, okay? Then you could do it, you're going to cut a 45-inch angle on these little babies. And the way you could do that is you could do it by your ruler, but I like to use the mat. So you get your mat and you get the 45-inch line that's drawn on the mat. Are you showing the mat?
Yes.
Okay. So, now, and you're not cutting where you've sewn it, you know, top stitched it. You're doing the raw edges where it's not sewn, okay? So you take it, and one, of course, is the right, and one is the left. And so for the, hold on, for the left, wait, hold on. For the left, wait, hold on. Okay, for the left, you want to cut it right here. Focus on here, right here. You want to cut it 45 inches from here to here. So you're following this line that's drawn right here on the mat. So you see, this is the raw edge right here. And that's where you're going to cut it, right there. Boom. Let me do it. Wait, hold on. Okay, this is for the left one. Because for the right one, it's completely different. Here we go. Let's see if I got it right. If I didn't, it's not the first time that I made a mistake. Amazing. I got it right. Okay. That's it. Now, for the right one, you get your other right one, and kind of really always look at the block or look at the diagram that comes with the instructions to make sure, see, and put it on your shirt to make sure you know how you're going to cut it. Because where you want to cut it is right here, right? So you take it, you know you want to cut it here, and I made a whole bunch of these things, and I kept making this mistake on the lapel. It got me so angry. So what I would do is I would just draw a line. Eventually, that's what I did. I drew a line, dummy. That's where you gotta cut it. So then you go back to your 45-inch thingamajiggy, and you put it on here, because you know it has to go from the folded edge to the raw edge. And it has to be 45 degrees. So you take it on the mat, and you cut it right there. Boom. Let's see if I got it right. I hope I did. I did. Because see, it's going to go like this. Right? It's going to look really good. Those are your two lapels. That's the hardest part. Fortunately, this is only a 2.5-inch piece of fabric. And if you make a mistake, you'll make another one. It's not hard to make these lapels. And I hope you don't make a mistake, but believe you me, I made a whole bunch of mistakes in cutting this darn lapel. All right, now, thank you very much. Hi, sorry, I had a little bit of an interruption, but we're back here, and this is the very last of the instructions. This should go quick, but I do want to show you one special thing. We've already done the hard part of making the lapels. When you sew the lapels onto the shirt, you take your lapel and you put it kind of close, maybe 1/8 of an inch over the sleeve line, right here like that. Then you take your 2.5-inch square and you put it right on top, like this. Then you sew it down diagonally. So what you're sewing is the shirt, the lapel, and the 2.5-inch square. And because you're going to be folding it over, you just want to do a little bit of a scant towards the raw edge of the shirt. Once that is sewn, then do, of course, the other side. And you can see here how I have the lapel just a little bit beyond the seam of the shirt right here, okay? I have it here also. The lapel is just a little bit beyond the seam, and then you put in your 2.5-inch block, and then you sew it. And then here we have another shirt, and see how I sewed it right there, right on the diagonal, turned it around. Here's another example of that. And now you've got your shirt. Once you've got those things done, then you're going to sew the two shirts together, two sides together. And this is the only time I'm going to instruct you on how to iron it. Once you iron it, you kind of do want to iron it by opening the seam, okay? So you've got a seam here and you want to open it both ways. And that's because there's a heck of a lot of fabric here. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers on each one of these. So opening up the seam will be a lot easier. And they recommend that you do not cut the back of it. And probably the reason for that is if you cut all of the background, then you're going to get like a hole or an indentation in the block. So leave it on. I did it with all of mine and it looks okay. Once you've got the shirt put together, then you put in the back collar, you put in that strip right here, and then you add the 12.5-inch by whatever on both sides. That will be a little bit bigger. Then you take your 12.5-inch ruler, cut it so that it is completely 12.5 inches long. So what you see here is, you know, your weekend shirts, travel shirts in the month of July, if you're going to London, if you're going to, God forbid, Texas, or to Hawaii. And I'd like to show you all the ones that I have made. I've got a Provence one, and believe it or not, men do wear these in Provence, even with pink buttons, bicycle. This is the July block of the month, so if you want to do it a little bit of patriotic, you can by doing a red, white, and blue. Here in Healdsburg, of course, you've got all the tourists coming, and they wear ridiculous wine shirts. And then we've got Hawaiian. I've got one here that's got tools for the man in your life, or the teenager who is working at some candy store or ice cream store. So those are some of the shirts that you can make. They're a lot of fun. I put in the buttons because you're going to lose the buttons. I put them in very light because when you start quilting it, you're probably going to want to quilt this seam right here, and the buttons might get in the way. So whoever wins these blocks, if the buttons get in the way, they can take them out and then put them back in. Anyway, sorry this took so long, but I promise you, everyone is going to love your shirts when you give it to them, or you're going to love it if you get them. So make a lot of them, make one for yourself, make a lot of them, and hopefully you will win. Thank you.
Texas is not that bad.
I want to win.
Well, I hope all of you can hear me. That was extremely entertaining. I didn't see any 45-inch piece of fabric there. So wherever she said 45-inch, you know it's 45-degree angle. Anyway, thank you, Carol, and thank you, Joni. That was really fun. I can't wait to read through the instructions. So let's move on. Bonnie and Ann have put together some wonderful speakers for us for the rest of the year, and they're going to introduce us to a couple of them and some interesting workshops also. So let's hear what Bonnie Butler-Sibold and helper Ann Nolan have to say. Take it away.
Okay, welcome everyone. This is Bonnie Butler-Sibold, your 2021 Programs Chair. First off, congratulations to our trivia contest winners from the June 18th workshop. called Everything, Including the Quilt Tote. Our winners were Joni Bellinghausen, who won a travel iron and basting spray, and Elaine Ramirez, who won a wash and go fusible roll and a large freezer paper roll, and Janet Tompkin, who won 2 45mm rotary blades. See what you missed? Thank you everyone for participating and playing the game. It was a lot of fun. Thank you, a big thank you to Ann Nolan for her instructions, her critiques, her hints. This was a wonderful workshop. I'm sorry some of you missed it because we had a really good time. And the totes will be shown to you at the end of my spiel. I just have to quit talking first. So, about our upcoming workshops. On July 15th, our guest artist is Susie Perrin. It's via Zoom. We're not doing face-to-face yet. Her title is Heritage Barn Quilts. This is a stunning pictorial journey on the historical barn quilt trail in East United States. Susie will tell us the stories of artists who painted these intricate barn quilts to honor their loved ones or their local culture. And she has some really humorous anecdotes for our Zoom presentation. And she's coming to us from Georgia. On the 16th, our workshop is again an Ann Nolan instructor. It is rock and roll with a jelly roll. And Ann tells me that besides your regular tools, the only supply list item is a jelly roll. So pick out one that you'd like to play with and let's do rock and roll with a jelly roll on the 16th. It is free. It is by Zoom. Okay, so watch for Sharon Fry to send out the distribution link for that. Okay, August 19th, our guest artist is April Spruill via Zoom. Her lecture presentation is The Myth of Creative Genius. Her workshop on the 20th is a Stitching a Story. This is a small fiber collage using all of these memorabilia pieces that you have stashed to tell a story of a favorite memory or person or event. April is really, really good at this, and she's even learned more techniques that she's going to share with us. The supply list was sent 2 weeks ago, but again, I'm going to send it before the next workshop is due. The fee is $40, sorry. And registration is open now, so please get a hold of me, text, email me, let me know that you're interested, or just stick an envelope in the mail to me with $40 and say April's class, and we've got you down, okay? The September meeting, we will not be having a speaker or a lecture, or a workshop, because that's our Founders Day celebration. And the board has learned that we will be meeting in person, so yay! But we're taking a break in September, as we normally do, okay? October 21st is our speaker for the first time in a long, long time, is Linda Ballard. She is a wonderful speaker and a real favorite with our guild. Because we weren't sure when we were going to be meeting again and whether we were doing Zoom or in person, the details for Linda's lecture and her workshop have not been finalized. So I'm keeping that under wraps until she and I work it out, but it does look like she will be in person for both this presentation and the workshop. Okay, so I will send you more information on that as soon as I get it, and we'll have open registration as soon as I let you know what we're having. Okay, so thank you everyone, and Anne's going to show you our totes so you can see what we did.
Thank you, Bonnie. And thank you very much. That was a great presentation. And Anne's workshop was wonderful. I've made several bags since. So let's move on to Sew a Rose. Ann Nolan is filling in for Tony until today, but let's take a look at the Sew a Rose that are available for adoption, because there's some really cute ones.
Hi, Santa Rosa Quilt Guild. I'm doing the report for Sew a Rose. It's my last time because good news, Tony Anderson is taking the job back on July 1st. That's today. So if there's any of these that you see that you would like to check out and do a row, contact Tony Anderson, and she's in the directory. So we have quite a few completed. Yay, we have a lot more to be done, so there's plenty for everyone. I'm going to show you a quick little slideshow here of the ones that are ready to check out right now. And as I said, you can contact Tony if any of these pique your interest. If you see something on the website, on the Sew a Row page, that isn't in this slideshow, it means someone's got it right now, which is great. But you can also let Tony know that you're interested in it, and she will let you know when it comes back and it's available to do a future row. Thank you so much, and welcome back, Tony. We're glad to have you back with us. Bye.
Thank you, Anne. And welcome back, Tony. Very happy to have her back. So let's go to show and tell. Linda Super Hooper always creates the most beautiful show and tell presentations for us. So let's see this month's show and tell.
Not sure why this is so little. Hold on just a sec. There we go. Sorry about that.
That's better.
Much better. It's good to get my magnifying glass out.
That's so cute.
Okay, I'm going to start it over. Here we go.
Thank you, Linda Hooper. You always do such a great job displaying or show and tells beautifully. So thank you. I'm not sure if Carol Belkey's in our meeting today. I can't see everybody. Does anyone see Carol Belkey here today?
If she's here, she can unmute herself, but I haven't found her, so.
I know she was on vacation, so she may not have logged in. I'm going to ask her when she's back to send out the link to the to the July clue for the mystery quilt. So I'll put that on my list of things to do. But thank you, Carol, publicly, because this has really been a great adventure for all of us, this mystery quilt. So we do have a TSW. It's from Leslie Ayer. It's called Wacko Scraps. Takes a while to get this one. Wacko techniques for making easy but complicated looking quilt borders. And I was so surprised when I saw it. It was really great. So please let's hear from, please play the video and let's hear from Leslie Ayers. She did this a few years ago.
Okay, everybody sit down and sniff it. But you can't hear if your mouth is moving. Mine's gonna move. Now, this is just a silly thing I did. It was just I was fooling around, and I wish I could say that I thought it through carefully and it was brilliant. But that wasn't the case. I had all these Christmas things, because every year I do a little Christmas mania, where I got 2 big tubs of Christmas fabric and I pull them out and make baby quilts, so those little preemies at Christmas get one, and Valley of the Moon, and one for our senior center for this senior appreciation dinner. And for some reason, one year, I did this, and I pulled out all the stuff last year out of my bins, and I went, I wonder how I did that. I knew I hadn't pieced it because they were little bitty pieces and that would drive me nuts. So I left them sitting on a counter for a couple of days and it finally filtered to the top of my brain. And I just called it Wacko Scraps because it was a leftover thing and I started fiddling around. So it starts with quarter, square, triangle, squares. And this will be on the blog, I'm told. And it couldn't get much simpler because you take these and you cut them in thirds. And then you've got pieces left over and you get to play jigsaw puzzle. And that's about all there is to it. You can either make them 2 colors, a light and a dark, or super scrappy. So I've made some samples so you can get an idea of how that works. I just think of this as silly play stuff. But what happens is, if you cut it in thirds, it depends on which way you orient the square as to what the outcome is. And I've shown that in the printout, the light and the dark. And it makes a lot of difference in what you're going to get as a net result, whether it's scrappy or just 2 colors like this is. And when I first did it, I just whacked away at them and I had this stack and I'm trying to put them together and saying, well, how come this center's dark and that one's light? It took me a while. I finally figured it out and said, oh, you might pay attention next time. So what I'll show you is some of what I invented from the center strips. This one, the square was 7 inches. I'm not into doing fractions. So I just cut the two side ones at 2 inches and the center at 3. You can do any thirds you want. So when you sew some of those center strips together, you get this. And that's all it is, it's sewed together. And you can either leave it like that, or you could cut it in half and have a border. You can do it this way and have a border. But you can get the idea from this about the different feel of it between having a dark center and a light center. And you'll definitely get a difference there. Then you can also put them end to end. Wrong side. You can also put them end to end. And again, you can have a pretty nice little border out of that. And it looks like you went to a lot of work, but you really didn't. It's not that bad. Because you can make a whole stack of quarter square triangle squares. And then start whacking away. Okay, and again, the difference between which is predominant, dark or light. And it's all kind of what you're working with and what you want to do with it. I had no idea what I was going to do with these, because as I said, I was just fooling around. Now these are the side strips, and different ways to put those together. These are 4 of the side strips, again with that difference between the orientation of the dark and the light. These guys, if you cut it in half, you'd have some nice border. Over here, if you cut that in half, you have some nice border. We're almost done. And these are some more, and you can get another little sashing strip or something with some nice little zigzags, and these are side pieces. And you might even think of other ways to do things with them. Now, the ones I originally did were smaller squares and purely scrappy. And I didn't know what I was doing, but I played. And last year I needed some extra squares after I pulled this out and went, how did I do that? So I centered a square on it, put some edging around, and made a nice little square that looked like I really worked hard. And those are the center pieces. And notice only these with the dark centers are left, because I find I really do prefer the dark to the light center. And these are the side pieces. Again, dark, light center. This one I just folded it in half. That make a pretty busy looking border. Do that same thing with the light half. Okay, that's it. Any questions? It's really pretty simple. The main thing that I want to get across to people is play with your leftovers. Because our, what people have called foremothers, they didn't have the luxury of getting in the car and going to the fabric store. They did things what I call the wig method, called what I got. And they made it work. And I find a lot of times with scrap quilting, I work a little harder when I have to figure out how to make these things work, and it's fun. It exercises the brain. Think of it as Alzheimer's prevention. So that's really it. And you could even do this on your computer if you had a bunch of some block. Put it on your computer screen, cut it up, and move pieces around. Yes, Judith?
Could you show us your original blocks again?
The original really is a quarter square triangle square. And it's just the direction you turn it as to what becomes predominant in the cut pieces. And Linda said she's going to put this on the website. Any other questions? Okay, go play.
I want to thank Linda Hooper for having this wonderful video from Leslie to share with us. Keep in mind, the reason the sound was not real great on that video is because we were meeting in person, and we used to tell everybody, okay, either come to the very front of the room or go to the very back of the room, and we'll have our technique sharing workshop for anybody who wants to see it. And then people would be talking in the background. They'd be, going through the library books. They were just visiting. And so it gets quite noisy, and the sound doesn't detect whether you're really close by or at the end of the hall. Everything echoes in there. So it was pretty distracting, but I thought the video was really, really cool. And so everybody remember what WIG stands for? W-I-G? What I got. I love that. So keep that in mind. And I've gotten a couple people have mentioned to me that Carol Belke did give away her clue for July in, I believe it's online as well as in the last newsletter. So you might look for the hint that she gave so you can continue working on your mystery quilt. So, Ann Nolan, can you please highlight Jan Westerman? She has something to discuss with us. She's jumping up and down over there.
There, we got you both up there. Is that good?
Yay. Yeah, that's good. Hello, everybody. It's so good to see you today. Hey, our fabulous guild president talked to me, and she had a great suggestion. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to run with this, because the one thing that I've noticed in this last year and a half as Miss Sunshine, hopefully you all know that that's who I am. I send out the cards for everybody. I've noticed in the last year and a half is that we really, and the feedback that I've gotten from people who've received cards is that we just really need that connection with people, especially now. And it kind of highlighted the fact that we've got some people who aren't able, when we start meeting in person again, we have people who are not going to be able to attend for whatever reason. And I think the Zoom meetings have just been kind of a lifeline for people who are homebound, and we want to make sure that those people are not forgotten. So I know in the past, we've kind of done an over 70 or over 75 birthday club. I believe Betty Upchurch has kind of done something about that, and it kind of went by the wayside. So we were thinking that maybe kind of to start off with, we start a over 90 club. I know that there's probably less of us that are over 90, so it won't be quite so overwhelming for me. And I just really personally, I need to send out some happy cards. I don't always have the fun job of being sending out happy cards. And, you know, I need some more happiness to share with everybody else. So I would like to start a 90s club. And in order to do that, I'm going to need permission for those of you who are over 90 and older. And what I'm going to do is I kind of sprung this up at the last minute. I want you to send your information, who you are, to my email address. I'm also in the directory of the roster, but just in case you can't find yours, is this backwards?
No, it's the right way.
Okay. So it's Westerman, and this is an underscore, not a dash. Some people put in a dash and then it doesn't get to me. Westerman _J at msn.com. And along with that, just to make it easier for me, because I like to know a little bit more about somebody other than the fact that you love quilting. So I would love to, well, first of all, I need to verify that you are over 90. So I need your year and birth date so I can send you a birthday card. And I wouldn't mind knowing what your favorite color is or your favorite flower, what your hobbies are, maybe besides quilting. Maybe you love to crochet or garden or read or anything. And that just kind of helps me if I don't know you personally, like some, you know, maybe people closer to my age. It just kind of helps me get the kind of the right feel of a card for you. And so hopefully everybody or most of you think that this is a great idea, and it gives you something else to look forward to becoming that wonderful age group. So if you have any other questions or anything, just let me know. And I look forward to starting this as soon as possible. Thanks.
Thank you, Jan. It is totally voluntary. So if you don't want to be on the birthday list, you don't need to be, but it's totally voluntary. And I thought it'd be really nice if people over 90 get a birthday card from the guild, because you are the special people in our guild. So thank you very much for bringing that up, Jan. And let's move on. We have some upcoming events. July 15th is our speaker meeting with Susie Perrone, the Heritage Barn Quilts. July 16th is Come Sew with Ann Nolan on Zoom, rock and roll with the jelly roll. No signups needed, it's open to everyone. July 22nd is our board meeting, and board meetings are open to all members. If you'd like to view a board meeting, please let me know. I'm Janelle, and I can send you the link. And July 29th is a free sew day from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So make lots of blocks for the block of the month, make lots of community quilts, send your completed quilt pictures to Linda Super Hooper for our next meeting. And this meeting, today's meeting was sponsored by your favorite hay fever drug company and water saver watchers. Just thought I had to add that. And thank you to our Zoom team, Ann Nolan and Elaine Ramirez for our Zoom meetings. Linda Super Hooper, thank you for show and tell, and TSW, and to all of our presenters for the work that they do month after month and helping put this on. And a special thank you to our board members who do such a wonderful job giving their advice and policy making skills, keeping our guild active and making certain all of our documents are up to date. Very happy about that. Very special thank you to Jim Jensen, who's worked the past few years, and yes, it's been years, updating not only our bylaws that were approved at the meeting last month, but our policies, procedures, and reference manual that was unanimously approved by your board members at the June 24th board meeting. Have a very happy and safe Independence Day, and hope to see you all soon. Thank you, and Meeting adjourned.